Hello everyone, it's 24th of February 2025. I'm Gary Waterman, a former UK Police Constable of 18 years service, and since 2022 I've acquired irrefutable, verifiable and corroborative evidence of decades-long international government fraud. This is deliberately exploiting and victimising billions of people around the world and appears to be deliberately facilitating the most awful crimes against them, and in particular against children, the most innocent of all. The innocents must rise. Now, international governments and their organisations have had almost 3 years to do the right thing, and they are ignoring the irrefutable evidence as it escalates. This suggests that they are biding their time for potentially sinister actions against the masses now they are cornered in relation to their criminal system. I'm very sorry to say that even Donald Trump and Elon Musk are implicated in this, and everybody is being deceived. They are not proposing the right measures to safeguard humanity and the children. So I'm calling for an international shutdown, which means all you have to do is nothing. Stop working, stay at home. You can go to the park if you want. Stop paying all bills, okay? And use this as leverage to change now that we know what the real problem really is. So I urge you to prepare, promote and participate in the 15th of March 2025 shutdown. You need to network this on ground level through knocking on doors, through speaking to your neighbours, people within the community, arranging meetings, producing leaflets, posters, flyers, if necessary, billboards, to look at the evidence and get everyone on a collective strategy. This is all about the numbers, people. If enough people do this, it will be over very quickly. And if it does not prompt a reaction from the international governments, then my advice is everyone needs to start separating from the system and forming community groups on how to move forward. We cannot comply to a criminal, fraudulent system that deliberately exploits the most innocent of all children. You need to step out of your fear, okay, and ensure that this ends. Now, it does appear as though there's very sinister plans potentially being made by our international governments, but we need to move forward in truth, transparency and trust and unite over this, everybody. I urge you. So I've completed a guide for others to be able to acquire the evidence from the Companies House registration system and use that evidence to assist in this exposure. I appear to be the only one in the world that has been doing this so far to this extent, and it has created huge movements, with the head of the World Economic Forum, the chair, stepping down in his position 3 days after that evidence was provided to them. International intelligence agency companies have dissolved, linking international governments, and there are huge other movements, all as a result of my exposure through these documents and the resulting videos. So more people need to do this. So this is my research guide. Now, forgive me, there will be spelling mistakes in this. I'm doing everything on my phone, and it appears they have even removed the spell check capability within my application. Many things are happening with my devices to, I believe, potentially prevent the evidence being exposed as well as it could be. So I'm not going to read through all of this, but you can pause this and look at it in slow time. It's also being circulated now. So this document is aimed at providing a guide on how you can research, secure, present and expose evidence of the decades-long international government fraud using the Companies House registration system. And this is international, okay? International governments. I found that Jacinda Ardern, who was the Prime Minister of New Zealand, is linked to this via the Companies House records, okay? So is Donald Trump. So was Joe Biden, many other people from international governments. Reading on, it says, this has been used, okay, the Companies House records, to create fraudulent entity companies to try and remove accountability and liability for crimes against humanity and particular children, the most innocent of all. The fraud is tied to the international taxation system, so it's worth trillions of pounds and involves government organisations forging the company registration systems and the incorporation documents. The banks appear to be assisting in forging bank documents so that money can be hidden and sent to offshore accounts. My previous police force, Dorset Police, have inadvertently confirmed that they are allowing this to happen. That was in two emails that I have. Here is an example of the forgery of the register. which shows screenshots taken from the Companies House registration system for London Law Agency The first description says, the overview of the London Law Agency showing images 1 and 2. You will see the incorporation date of the 17th of October 1967 is shown, and that there is no other previous company name registered at the bottom. So here's the screenshots, and I'm going to go into Companies House in a minute and just show you how to navigate it. But you can see here the overview, and it shows the incorporated date of 1967, and at the bottom, where there would normally be any other registered names shown, there is no name shown. So that suggests no other names have been registered. Image 3, you can normally find the incorporation document on the last page of the filing history. Sometimes it is hidden within another selection of documents file. So here's the image within the filing history, and it's normally the oldest document. You can see here, Certificate of Incorporation, 17th of October 1967. Image 4, the incorporation document is the most important document in relation to a company's registration, because all aspects have to be correct and legal for the company to be able to trade legally. You will see that the company name is actually Ganvilon Motors Limited, which has never been registered on the overview, meaning it won't be found during a search of the register. Further down on the document, not shown here, is the same date on the overview. This means they have transferred the date but falsified the register with the name London Law Agency, despite having attached the document displaying Ganvilon Motors to it. This is government fraud. Remember, they control the register. Here's the overview that I'm talking about. Sorry, the incorporation document. You can see it says Ganvilon Motors. You can see at the bottom on the right here the date, October 1967. And further down on the document, when you look in the register, you will see that it is also on the document. And notice you've got Jordans and Sons Limited, the company, on the bottom of it as well. Now that Ganvilon Motors name has never been registered. You can see it hasn't, because they've got London Law Agency and no other name on the bottom of the overview. So that is a criminal, fraudulent entity company and should never have been allowed to trade. So I'm just going to show you real time on Companies House how to see that information. Here's the company. On the overview, you can see on the right hand side, 17th of October 1967. No other dates at the bottom, and it's a solicitor's firm. The fact it's a solicitor's firm, they will know full well what they're doing in relation to this crime, or they certainly should do. And of course, the governments will have no doubt that they are committing a crime in relation to what they're doing. And you can see on the left here, it's actually in liquidation as I'm exposing the evidence. Even though it was incorporated in 1967, that is because they know they are now fully exposed. Here's the tab for the filing history. You click on filing history. You can sometimes limit it by clicking on the incorporation tab here to just show the incorporation documents, but don't rely on that because they have hidden the incorporation document. So sometimes you have to untick everything, okay, and go to the last page. So I'm just clicking next. It's normally within the last page. You can just go to the page. Okay, sometimes they've hidden it within another selection of documents, and you have to go through the filing history to find it because they're panicking. So here's the Certificate of Incorporation. I can't remember if it's the bottom one or the one above. Let's have a look on here. Just going into it. It loads up. No, it's on the other one you want to look at. So next one up. Sometimes it's the last one. Sometimes you have to just look at another one. Taken a while. So here it is, just to confirm for you. Ganvilon Motors, never registered. Bottom company, Jordans and Sons. Ganvilon Motors and Jordans and Sons. And the date is the same as the register, electronic register. Further down you can see it as well. Here it is. So they've got it as October 1967. Because that will be a slight delay, because obviously they've filled out this document of 1967 and then transferred it later. So remember, Ganvilon Motors, And no Gamble on Motors registered, only London Law Agency, 17th of October 1967. So remember the delay in the document being completed and then uploaded. So they falsified the register because there is no other company name registered on the bottom here, and you can look at some others to see where it should be on there. And let's have a look at Jordans and Sons that was on the bottom of the incorporation document. Now Jordans and Sons was now trading under Vistra Limited, so this is searching within the company's house, and you can see one here, the incorporated date of 1965. Go into it. Here's Vistra Limited. And remember, we spoke about the names on the bottom of the overview. Well, here they are, Jordans Limited and Jordans Sons. So if a company has been registered, you will see that with the previous name, and that previous name has been registered, then it will be on this bottom of the overview. And you can see, interestingly, it changed its name in 2019, the last time. Okay, you can see Jordans Limited from 1996, 5 years before the World Trade Center disaster, and then 2019, the year of the outbreak, which is all connected into all of this. Okay, everybody? So no other names registered other than these three: Vistra Limited, Jordans Limited, and Jordans and Sons Limited. So what I would do with this research is I would go through and I would screenshot this information. I'm doing it on my phone. I'd screenshot it, secure it, and then paste it into a document. Filing history. And the reason I'm showing you these companies is these two have been used a lot as the front for the criminal system in place. And the illegality continues through the documents, okay? But there's a lot of other fraudulent entity companies, but these two in particular appear to have been used the most as the front for the organised crime by our governments. Because that's what they are, is an organised criminal group. The worst ever. I've never, ever dealt with any criminals so bad as this in my entire life as a police officer. And you can see, or police constable, you can see on the incorporation document that it's actually got Hammerplag Limited. Okay, Hammerplag Limited. Okay, it's further down as well, somewhere here. So you've got Jordans and Sons on the bottom, but that's not the company name it's saying. Okay, there you go, the name Hammerplag Limited. Memorandum of Articles of Hammerplag Limited. Going back to the overview where that was attached, no Hammerplag Limited registered anywhere. Criminal, everybody. Government crime. So going back to my research document, I'm not going to show you all of this, or read it all, shall we say, but you can pause it. So the target research, choosing what research you do, what subject. This may be an individual or a company. Consider the community, national and international benefits of exposing the subject. It's clear that we are living under a criminal system, so you should consider focusing on evidence to help compel an essential change in this system. And we do that by exposing the lead organisers in this. So people in position of authority such as councillors, members of parliament, chief police officers, police and crime commissioners, heads of government organisations, or having a significant presence within society are examples of what should be considered as priority research, or a company that has a big influence in an area or internationally. Secure any research. Now I've done this using screenshots taken from the evidence and pasted it into a document. And I'll then highlight sections within it, and I'm going to show you an example in a minute, but you may find a better way of doing this. So again, you can pause and read all of this. Research steps and methods. So consider an initial Wikipedia or other internet resource-based search so that you can gain evidence from that, which you can then use to research within Companies House. For example, I did this with BCP Council and found that KPMG was their audit company, so I then researched KPMG and found links to the fraud. Okay, so again, I'm not going to read all of this. So how to do the actual research. Companies House. This is just showing the different sections on the overview to look at. Could be important. Again, please pause it to read all of this. Time is of the essence, so I've then gone into each subject and explained why it's so important. I've given examples of addresses and information that you should look for as a trigger on whether you should look more in depth into a company. I've mentioned shell company names. And then I've gone into information about the incorporation document, which is, as I've said, the most important document in all of this. Everything has to be legal and lawful on those documents for the company to be legally trading. If not, then they should never have been allowed to trade. And our governments have clearly been allowing criminal organisations to trade. It's government fraud, everybody. I'm going to show you an example of one of my documents in a minute when I've shown this. So these are examples of some of the companies, and if you see them, then you know they're automatically linked to the fraud. Okay, because these are already linked to the fraud through my research. There are more, but I've tried to put most of the ones that I can. These are in alphabetical order. Well, hopefully they are. But some of the big ones, Waterloo's is a very important one. Waterloo's and Sons. There's variations of the names though, and that's because they appear to be linking significantly through. Get that back. Significantly through to the Freemasons, but there's many other connections to the Freemasons. Many of these companies are now starting to dissolve, okay, at UK PLC, various other ones, as I'm exposing the evidence, because they know that they are now completely exposed to their crimes. And this is why we're in a very dangerous time, guys, because of course they're backed into a corner. Here I've shown an example of the forgery of the incorporation document, or what I suspect is a forgery. You can see the boxes, the lines are missing from behind, sorry, okay, and the actual company appears in different font. It's not consistent with the rest of the document, so it appears as though it's been added afterwards. Just another example here, and you'll see examples of that through the research. How to do name searches, why they're important to link into other evidence, duplication of records, which is what they've done deliberately to hide the fraud, duplication of names when it should all be under one record, and how to expose the evidence. Okay, so you can pause that and look at that in slow time, or you can email me to get a copy of it. My email address is GaryTheTruthSetsUsFree @gmail.com. That's 1R, Gary, TheTruthSetsUsFree @gmail.com. Now this is just an example of one of the documents I've done. This was just an overview, but you don't need to do that really. It's up to you. You can put what you want on it. But further down I'll show you the actual research I've done. That's personal research in relation to the back. Right, here we go. So for example, if you're looking into a subject, you might want to look at the councillors for your area, which is what I've done here. And the ones in blue are just the ones that I've researched in this document, because I just haven't had time to research all of them. So I've just selected some. And then I've gone in, and so I've just screenshot it, highlighted it. Not done a great job on this document. It's one of my first ones. And then further down, I've just shown a bit of research in relation to some news articles tying in with it, but you don't have to do that. And then here's the Wikipedia research in relation to BCP Council, which is the council where this started for me in that area. And then I just highlight sections within the documents that's important. Again, I haven't done a great job of this document, but you can see where I've found companies within the research. Grant Thornton, KPMG. Okay, so then I can research those companies. And then I'm just going to skip down to the Companies House research. So here we go. So all I've done is taken screenshots from the overviews that you can see here, put them into the document, screenshot of the incorporation document, and then the people records. Now I've redacted this, but you don't need to. It's public records. The only reason I did this is they were panicking and they removed the video suggesting that I can't show it, but of course you can. It's public information. Okay, so that's all I've done in relation to it and gone through, and I've followed the sequential evidential links going through. So showed a screenshot, and then on the next screenshot how that ties into the next bit of evidence. Let's look at another document just to show another example. So this is my document in relation to Julian Assange, and you can see I've just screenshot Wikipedia, and then certain bits within it I've highlighted, names, Chelsea Manning, etc. on the left there, okay, which I've then researched later in the document. Here you can see, I mean, you might find a better way of doing this, but I mean, this is a sideline really. We need to focus on an international strike, but I'm just trying to get this out there whilst I can, in case we get through all of this and we can then expose all of these people. So you can see here various bits of research that I've highlighted. The name, his previous name, his real name originally, according to this, was actually Julian Hawkins. Not many people realise that. Okay, and then I've gone down into more Wikipedia, and then I've then included some articles that become relevant, news articles, because they have dates, and of course they can be verified by people. Then I've just shown some emails which won't be so relevant to you, possibly some correspondence that was personal to the situation, and then I've just gone into some more news articles, and then I've broken down each section. So Chelsea Manning here, researched her on Wikipedia, and then gone into Companies House records for searching in relation to Chelsea Manning name, and then shown where that links. And you'll see, like I've explained in the research guide, you'll see incorporation dates and dissolution dates of companies that become relevant to the exposure. So you can see, as I said, this is another thing you need to look out for, that they're actively proposing to strike the company off recently, and that's because of, very likely because of the fraud, or quite possibly, shall we say, because of the fraud. And this was a company linked to the fraud. And then you can research then. So for this is a good example. So I've, within one of the, on the incorporation documents, I've found a company name here. Can't read it very well on the video, but it's there. And then I've used that name and searched it separately within the Companies House records to then find more links to the fraud. Okay, so it's following those evidential links, and then here you can see it leads to First Class Company Services. Now I know from my previous research that links to Jeffrey Epstein and international fraud. Okay, so hopefully this all makes sense. Like I say, if you want the document, you can email me, GaryTheTruthSetsUsFree@gmail.com, and I can get that document to you. But hopefully this will be enough for you to do your own research. But please, the priority has to be, I believe, to save humanity and the children, focusing on an international shutdown as leverage to change. Thank you very much for listening. Take care. Bye bye.